Right then guys, next step in the videos then, we've already talked about getting our pace beads ready for when we're actually going to go and check our pacings, and that's the next video that's actually coming up. But what I'm going to cover now, before we actually get out on the ground, while I made the walk down to the Mull of Kintyre Lighthouse on a beautiful day like this, I thought I'd take the most of the opportunity. So the next one I'm going to talk about, I would do this before we went out on the ground, is getting our bits and pieces ready, our map and our compass. So starting off with our compass then, I always keep my compass. I've had this pouch about 5 or 6 years now, paid about £5 for it, and all it is a foam pouch. It's nice and soft, but what it does is it protects this. If our compass goes down, then chances are you're going to go down out on the ground, so it just takes care of it. I've got a lanyard attached to it. The lanyard actually attaches to the pouch so that both of them stay together, so I can't lose one or the other. What I would do before I went out on the ground is also get an elastic band, and that goes over the bezel. So the reason we carry this elastic band is when we actually set our bearings, what we're tendency to do is if it gets put back in a pocket or put back into the pouch, it'll twist and then your bearing's gone. You can't remember what it was, you could have been going off for a while. So that one just keeps your bearing nice and firm. There are other different ways of doing this. Now when it comes to compasses, I recommend that you actually spend a little bit of money. Looking at a decent compass, about 35 to £40 if you're going to use it a lot. But what you don't want to do is go out on the ground with a £5 compass that you get from a second-hand shop or one of the little pound shops. They're about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. They will move, and the chances are the bezels will be broken within a couple of minutes. Spend the money and get a decent compass. There's the first one taken care of. More about compasses when we come on to bearings and things. So the next one then, the maps itself. When we actually get the maps will come in paper form. You can nowadays actually get the OS maps that are ready waterproofed. They also cost about an extra £10 I think to get them actually in that state. If you want to spend that money, then good effort, crack. And what you can get is either Fablon, laminating is not too bad, but laminated pouches you can't actually bend because it will crack and they'll become basically unwaterproof, and the water will seep in through the cracks. So what I've done, and what most military lads do, is they'll Fablon, which is this. Now this here is just basically a sticky plastic material. Now this is a map of a different area, but it's just one that I brought along is to show what you would actually do. Now the big things to worry about when you're Fabloning the map or cutting the map up, so you don't have to have big white lines all the way around the sides. What you can have is your map Fablon like this, cut to the area that you need, that you're going to be working with. And what I've also done along here, I don't know whether you can see it particularly well, it is quite windy up here, is I've actually highlighted the different colours in orange and in yellow, just to make sure that I can see where they are. This will obviously be done before you actually Fablon, it will cover it. Now I know Fablon is a massive thing in the military. The other thing we do then is on the back. We've cut a legend off. What we don't do is throw it away, because that tells us about the different parts that are actually on the map. So what I've done is I've got the map on one side, and when I Fablon it, I've stuck all the legends. I've actually got the interior of a camp on here as well, that was on as part of the legend at the side, and I've stuck that on. So all of my information is on the back of the map, safe and sound, and this will stay waterproof for a very long time. That's an easy way of doing it if you can get hold of this stuff. If you can't get hold of that, we use one of these, map case. Again, you get what you pay for. A map case, this one here is a silver map case. I've had this one about 10 years and it's still going strong. There's no rips, tears, it's still 100% waterproof. You can again get cheaper ones. This one's very pliable, so I can stick it in my pocket, stick it in my day sack. It's not going to rip and tear, and it's not going to do any damage to the map. If you do get the cheaper ones, they tend to be a lot harder plastic. That harder plastic starts to get brittle, it'll rip and tear, and the waterproofness just disappears, and your map's going to get soaking wet inside. Again, it's no use to man nor beast. What I have also seen people using is poly pockets. Now, if you're doing an orienteering stance, maybe you'll get away with a poly pocket. If you're going up on the hills, you're not gonna keep your map wet for dry for very long. You want to try and keep that dryness of the map as long as you possibly can. Wet paper disintegrates. It's going to be no use to man or beast. Another one, while we're talking about maps, you get maps like this. The reason I'm mentioning this, these maps are fantastic. This is of the local area here. It's good. They're a tourist map. They tell you a road you got to get down to get to big tourist areas. I've seen people, I've actually seen someone walking with their children up Snowdon in this in the winter. There are people out there with that sort of brains to be walking up a mountain with a tourist map like this with fancy pictures on it. That is not what they're designed for. They're good for their purpose, to show people how to get to particular areas, but when it comes to actually going out on the ground, never in a million years. So just a quick recap then, a decent compass, get yourself an elastic band around the bezel, stop it moving once you've plotted your bearing. We'll cover that in a later lesson. Make sure you've got a lanyard on it, and make sure that lanyard is either attached to your pocket, even better, attached to your day sack, and you've got some sort of pouch with it. You can make one of these out of a cheap bit of foam, taped together, stuck inside, just keeps it nice and safe. If that smashes in half, again, it's no use to anybody. Either take care of your map 100%. If you're going to cut it down because you're going to use that area a lot, make sure, like I said, you put all the bits that you need, all the information you need off the map on the other side, if you are going to fablong it together like this to keep it waterproof. Failing that, get yourself a decent map case. Decent brand, a decent make if you're going to keep it for a while and you're going to use it all the time. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and look in for the next video.